A very good evening to everyone. Welcome to simRacing South Africa on this Monday night. I'm Ryan Hill and I'm going to be covering tonight's action for you. We are of course back with the BMW M2 CS Racing tonight. It is our simM2 challenge and we are at round 3 already. Time is flying, and as you can see in the background from the drone footage, we are at a very historic circuit, Imola. Also known as the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. But yeah, Imola, also known as the Emilia-Romagna circuit, just from the region it's in Italy. Obviously it has a steep in Formula 1 history, notwithstanding the tragedies of 1994, of course, but you know, it was on and off the circuit for a while and brought back in 2020. Very glad to see it because it's an epic circuit and back on the Formula 1 racing calendar since 2020, and a permanent feature until at least 2025, until it's up for renewal as well. But tonight we're out in the tin tops, the BMWs, and I'm going to take you to the track layout. And we can talk through some of the very famous corners. There's a lot of big names here. Just starting from the start-finish line in the bottom left of your screen, as it is right now. They'll be coming up to the first of many chicanes, Tamburello, relatively slow, and then it's a very short. There's the straights on Imola are not very long at all. A very short straight up to the second chicane of the Villeneuve curves, and then Tosa being one of the tightest little corners in the circuit, and there's a lot of elevation changes the drivers are going to be dealing with as they go up the hill around the bend to the left of Tosa, or turn 7. And then it's a little bit of another drag with a bit of a kink down to the Peratella corners, another very technical sort of complex set of corners, 9, 10, and then you're into the Aqua Minerales, another very famous section. There's a lot of runoff. You'll see some nice banner printing on the side of the track identifying Imola itself. And then another short straight run down into the Variante Alta chicane, and then another bit of a straight with a bit of a kink down to the final Ravazza sort of hairpin double left-hand corners until the final pit main straight again. Just before we get to the cars on track tonight, a little look at the weather forecast for what's happening in and around the track. So an average ambient temperature for the race weekend of 24 degrees Celsius. We'll have a little look in a bit as to what the actual temperature on track is doing. It'll be displayed in the top right of your corner at all times. I can already see that the ambient temperature is up to 27 degrees, so it's warmed up quite a bit. Track temperature at 34 degrees Celsius as we see cars piling out of the pits in the background as they start the half an hour of qualifying. Going to have a quick look at the championship standing. I mentioned we're into round 3 already. Rounds 1 and 2 came and went very quickly. Charles Wilkin and Ross Bartle each won one of those races apiece, so they are tied right now at the top of the leaderboard at 197 points. Hot on their heels, Nick Hodgson at just 189 points. Yeah, very few points behind them, so still within contention. And just a couple of points behind him, Sas van der Veste is in fourth, and Shiren Raj Paul rounding out your top 5 as it stands. Right, so wind, not too much in it. Track conditions, it's looking pretty clear, nice and partly cloudy. I don't think there's any threat of rain whatsoever. Looking at the weather forecast, track itself is currently set to fast grip, which I expect to see to improve very rapidly throughout qualifying, so keep an eye on that. Just based on the temperatures and how dry it is, it's going to start rubbering in very quickly, I would expect. I'm just going to have a look at some of the favorites out there, just based on the championship leaders. We're currently having a look at the Grumpy Monkey Sim Racing. A little bit of contact there, unfortunately, Nick had with couldn't quite see who that was in front of him, unfortunately, but that car is out for the time being, and Nick Hodson predictably jumps back to pits, but fortunately much time remaining on the clock, 27 minutes, lots of time to get out there and resolve any issues. Charles Wilkin is out there currently in his hard motorsport livery, also looking to have a strong start and finish tonight. Ross Bartle, another one of the favorites for Grumpy Monkey Sim Racing, getting it very sideways through the corners there. That is the Aqua Minerale section. I will bounce up and down the field just to say how's it to everyone. Already how's it to Butter in chat. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's Andre. How's it? Nice for you to join us tonight. James Leach Sr. out on track. So Hannes van Beek for BWR Vipers, that's the Black Widow Racing team. Sean Bingham is out there for Point Blank Sim Racing. And we're already seeing some times being posted. Mike LaRue for Venomworks Racing has clocked in a provisional pole time of 1:57.890. Charles Wilkin is just 0.085 splits behind that. But expect the top few times to be bouncing around quite often as the track rubbers in. Drivers find their feet. Look like just in front of Mike there, one of the Grumpy Monkey guys going extremely wide. It's also a game of finding the right time to head out of the pits and put in your lap times. Potentially a lot of traffic to deal with tonight. I'm looking at the total numbers I have on the board. Currently present at the track today, we have 30 drivers. Out of an expected 40, I did see at least 5 or so excuse themselves, so unfortunately a couple of guys not making tonight, but still a good turnout of 30 people. I think it's going to make for some good racing. Let's go and have a look at some of the guys yet to set some laps. Peter Geldnest is, I think, now just finished his outlap and he's on for his first hot lap. Chevy Bassoon. SB Racing also looking to get out there, about to cross the line and do another lap. Pops himself up into a very nice P9 at the moment, so into the top 10 he goes. I've got Corne Kotze at the... coming up to the start-finish line as well. He'll be pumping himself up into the top 10. So doing very nicely there. How's it, Stefan Herbst? Just saying hello in the YouTube chats. Got Emily Bentz for Ghostwork Racing, just making her way around, looking to clock in the first of her laps. Let's see who else is out there. I've got Shiraz Dada for Race Car Fanatics, looking to clock in his first timed lap. It's coming up to the start-finish line now. We'll see if he can bank a time. He crosses the line in. Yet to do another lap, so I think that must have been an invalid or an out lap. So he's off on his first timed lap. Roxanne Bartle, currently in P11, looking to improve upon her time at the moment. Hannes van Veek has just popped himself up into P1. Runs a bit wide there. So validated the current lap, I'm sure, but he's done very well to put himself into provisional pole for now. BWR Viper is looking pretty pacey tonight so far. Charles Wilkin, meanwhile, still in P3. I don't think has improved his time from earlier, so he's looking to just go even faster. Sas van der Westhuizen, currently in P5, about a second off the provisional pole sitter, Hannes van Veek, so I think he's got some work to do, and I know he knows he can do better. Got Renier Leach out there for one of the Team Leach Racing drivers. There's quite a couple of them out there. James Leach Senior, Renier Leach. Got John Mervis out there. Mark Guy for Holston Motorsports. Signature bread livery, Holston Breads. He's making his way through one of the first chicanes there. Varianta Alti, I think that was. Now heading down to the Rivatsa corners just before the start of another lap. Mike Carew now just yielding to some traffic, trying to find a good spot for himself to go out there and do another lap. What I am going to keep an eye on is one of our top runners just that can go on board, and we can view a hot lap from their perspective. Looks like Hannes van Veek has just got himself into some clear air. So he might be a good one to have a look at. He has car number 25, or position number 25 just ahead of him. So let's go on board with him regardless and see see what a lap of Imola looks like from his perspective. So after exiting the Ravazza final corner complexes, he's bailing out of that lap. Let's see if we can find someone else. Currently on board with Mike LaRue, rounding in not such a great fashion the final Ravazza corners. Let's see if he goes and puts in another fast lap attempt. Sounds like he's giving it the beans. Goes across the line, puts himself into P3 for the time being, and stays out for another lap. Heading into this first little chicane, Tamburello. Riding the curves, trying to keep it as straight as possible through the turn 4 kink, and then up the short straight into the Villeneuve chicane coming up in front. It's turn 5, turn 6, chucks it in. Another short little run up until Tosa. This is the sharp left-hander. It goes uphill as well. It's quite tricky, very deceptive. You can lose grip here. Then gets on the power. And it's another short straight with a bit of a kink to the right through turn 8. So he's going to hit the downhill left-hand corners of Peratella. Again, a very complex set of corners to hook up correctly. You can carry a lot of speed down the hill here. Down turn 10 and turn 11 is the start of Aqua Minerali. Turn 12, turn 13, another very complex corner to get right and not exceed track limits. And then there's another short straight leading up to the chicane of Varianti Alta. This is turn 14 and 15 he's going through now. Looking to put down the power nice and early, flat through this little left-hander kink of turn 16. Another minor kink to the right, flat turn 17, and then you're into the Ravazza corners. Turn 18. Try and keep as much speed as possible. Turn 19, the final corner, and then all the power to the straight. There's a minor kink to the right here, but you can just keep it flat. That is a lap of Imola, and Mike does not improve, but still just cements P3 for now. Looking who's up on their delta, I've got Sean Bingham, 0.7 up on his best at the moment. His best being a 0.159. 365. It's coming up to the start-finish line now, and he jumps up into P7 with that banked. I'm gonna have a look at who else is up on the delta. I've got James Leach Sr., who's up half a second on his best. Is good to bump him up a couple of positions if you can keep it banked. It's actually improved on his delta now, 0.7. Number 477 just spinning in the background there. James Leach Senior is still up 0.8 seconds on his best, so he's still maintaining that, coming through the final corner complexes of Ravazza now. Can he maintain that speed? Still up 0.8. I think this is going to jump him a good couple of positions. Currently in P21. We'll see where he comes as he crosses the line. Bumps himself up into P18. Backing up the field again, we are on with Andrew Govender. He's up 0.6 on his best. So looking to improve by... This will gain him a good couple of places if he can maintain it. That 0.5 delta that he's currently enjoying, I think will bump him at least 5 places if he can bank it. He's about to head over the line now. Was P9, goes P4. So that is a nice, decent bump for him at the moment. The track's still looking fast grip. It hasn't improved yet. Well, hasn't improved significantly, should I say. It's improving all the time. And who else is up on the delta? Yuri Cordia, currently in P23, slightly up on his delta by 0.2 seconds. Which should gain him possibly 1 position if he can bank this. He's got his indicator going for some reason. Turning left. Keep an eye on him. Ross Bartel, currently in P5, he's up on his delta as well by 0.3 seconds. So that is good for at least 1 or 2 position jumps. Meanwhile, Charles Wilken has just banked in the provisional pole of a 157.110. Still gonna keep an eye on Ross Bartle here. He is slightly down now, but still up on his previous best, 0.2 seconds up. And so is Mike Leroux, and so is Hannes van Veek, so they're all improving at the top end here. So there's a lot of hard work to be done to make some actual gains. You see blue flags being waved just as guys are coming through. Ross is coming through the Rivata complex now. Final set of corners essentially before the straight, and he just looks to hang on. And after rounding the final corner, he's up 0.4 seconds, which should gain him at least 1 or 2. Let's see. Just the 1 for now. Piles off the circuit. Charles Wilken, meanwhile, is going across the finish line now, but he's not going to improve any further on his current lap right now. Further down the field, Ryan van Veek for Holsten Motorsports is up on his delta by 0.3. That is good for possibly leapfrogging Roxanne Bartle, who is in P10, so he can potentially reach the top 10 if he keeps his foot in it. Doesn't exceed any track limits as he's making his way through Aqua Minerali. To have gone a little bit wide there. Unfortunately, I can't tell if it's exceeded track limits or not. I think it might have. Yep, unfortunately, I think it looks like that my timing sheets are indicating that he has invalidated his lap there. Just jumping on board now with Fridge Finlay, who is tucked in right behind. Who is that? Not quite sure, but managed to get rid of that traffic for now. And he's looking to improve on his lap time for Team Lotus Racing. Just jumping down to P24 right now. Waldo Swiggers is 0.4 seconds up on his personal best. And can he improve? I have a sneak suspicion he may have. He's got another 1.2 seconds up on his best as he starts this new lap. Right behind him, that signature black and yellow car, I think might be one of the BT Motorsport cars. I will need to quickly see if I can find that. Oh, Waldo's gone off. Jonathan Bentz, meanwhile, currently in P18, is up half a second as he rounds the final corner, so this should be a nice gain for him, and indeed jumps up a couple positions to P16. James Leach is up almost half a second on his best now in P14. Still up half a second. We'll stay with him now as he approaches Tosa. Just see how he gets on and listen to how, when he's applying the throttle, when he's lifting. He's done exceptionally well to maintain some good momentum and speed out of that corner. He's now up 0.7 on his best, so he's improving. Section struggles to keep it inside of track limits, and I fear he went outside there because the timing sheet is no longer showing a positive delta, and indeed he has bailed out of his lap, so that was a spoiled lap, unfortunately. After doing pretty well to get up 0.7 on his delta, he'll have to get out there and try again. She does. I'm going to bounce to Emily Bentz, meanwhile, who's up 0.4 on her best. See her make her way around. Ross Bartle, meanwhile, I'm on camera with him now, is half a second up on his best. So this could be another position change. It's on the cusp of what is required to unseat Mike LaRue as the delta continues to go up and down through the corners. See if he can maintain some speed and keep it within track limits. Through now, shoots down to Variante Alta, rides those curbs. They're quite high. Hopefully hasn't invalidated on that exit curve. I think he looks good. Still up half a second on his delta. The long run downhill to Rivatsa. Slight loss of time, but still looking good, in and around the half a second. In fact, that was a great exit. It's up to 0.7 now on his best, so he just needs to bank this lap, and I think he's going to leapfrog at least one, possibly two positions. As he banks this lap, 2 positions it is, and he goes P2. I'm going to jump back down to Chavesh. Currently in P19, he's up 0.2 on his delta, so also on a good lap for himself. 0.2 seconds will gain him at least 1, possibly 2 places. It's very close. Just needs to bank this as well. He's still got a long way to go. He's coming up to Tosa now. That's a sharp little left-hander uphill. done very well for himself, up to 0.5 seconds now. Had a great exit out of there, gained a lot of momentum, and is just maintaining it up this uphill section. Through Peratella, down through Aqua Minerale we go. Keeps it in check, most importantly. Lost a little bit of time, could have been better there, but still up half a second on his best. Heading down to Variante Alta, clipping the curbs very aggressively. I think he may not be happy with that turn entrance, but somehow has managed to maintain half a second. Through Ravazza now. 1 and 2 done, and has got to keep his foot flat. He's still up half a second on his best. Where is that going to put him? P19 it was, I reckon about P17. He's 16. So a good few position gains there for Shivesh. No one improving in the top 10 yet. Fridge Fenley is 0.4 up on his delta, so he's looking to improve a good amount. This looks like it'll put him a good few positions bumped. If he can bank this half a second, this is good for at least 6 or 7 places if he can bank it. Fridge could go from about 12th to P6 if he keeps his foot in. Going through Ravazza 1 now. Oh, he's lost a little bit of time. Can he make it up through Ravazza 2 exit? I think it is looking touch go. He's dropped a bit, unfortunately. He's now only 0.4 up on his best. We'll see where he ends up. Still good for a couple positions. P12 up to P7. So good banker lap there from Fridge. I'm sure he's going to be quite happy with that considering. And there's still opportunity to make some further gains. Speaking of, Mike LaRue now is up 0.2 on his best. Currently P4, looking to improve upon that. He's got to deal with some traffic, but there is Grumpy Monkey cars diving out of the way for him. We're in the final 20-odd seconds of qualifying. And for now, it looks like Ross Bartle is on provisional pole. I don't see anyone challenging him with the time remaining for that. Michael is the only one in the top sort of 5 or 6 up on his delta. He's 0.2 up, just gone through the final corners now. This should be good for maybe one position, but he's going to have to work hard to get it. Unfortunately, he does not. So, Ross Bartle P1, Charles Wilkin P2, Hannes van Veek P3, Michael LaRue P4, Adrian Govender I think is going to round out your top 5. With a couple more drivers still out there looking to come across the line. Adrian Govender is the only one up on his delta at the moment, but he looks like he may have just lost it, so I don't think he's going to be improving anything. Hannes van Veek is up 0.1, which is not enough to gain him any additional positions. And indeed, it sounds like Hannes is recognizing that and just pulling off the race circuit for the time being. Gideon Bernardi for Bernardi Alphabet Racing. Just aborting that lap as well. Emily Benz. Looks like Emily is 0.8 seconds up on her best, so actually just looking to bank this lap. that should be good to bumper a good few positions up to P27 at the death there. But no one else on track looking to improve. Jonathan Bent's, apologies, has just crossed the line in P12. And I think that jumped a couple of positions. Okay, I'm going to pop to a short ad break. Don't go anywhere. When you get back, we will be racing. Right, 30 seconds left. I'm going to hit the broadcast table. Final preparations being made by all drivers. A reminder that it's a one mandatory stop tonight, and where drivers have the option of either putting in a litre of fuel, or must put in a litre of fuel minimum, and changing tires is completely optional. Whether they choose to do that or not is up to them and their race strategy. Track looking a little green, temperatures a little bit lower than what we saw in qualifying. It's a rolling start. The lights have gone out. We're going to see cars peel away out of the starting blocks. We're going to jump to a helicam and just see how the grid is going to shape up. They started in double file. They're going to make their way into single file almost immediately. Snake their way around. We might see some guys weaving to try and get some heat in their tires, trying to warm their brakes. So Ross Bartle for Grumpy Monkey Sim Racing in the blue car with the yellow side mirrors currently on pole. Charles Wilkin for Hard Motorsport in the white and red livery just behind him. He's going to be looking to make a good start off the line. And it's all going to be about what happens down to that first corner complex of Variante Tamburello, that first chicane. Coming through Variante Alta now, just on the warm-up formation lap. They'll start getting into double foul very shortly. Start forming up the grid. Here we go, double stacking. Let's get a helicopter view of the start and see what happens. Right, they're across the start-finish line. Lights are about to go green.
Green light, go, go, go.
Green lights and we are racing, and Ross is after a good start. Charles has been bogged down, and it looks like Hannes van Wyk has got the drop on him. Just behind Charles Wilkin, we've got Mike LaRue, but up on the inside it looks like Nick Hodson. Nick Hodson is going for that little inside line, and he's trying not to get squeezed. Contact is avoided. Just having a look further down the field, Ross Bartle, meanwhile, scampering away. Looks like getting all sorts of squiggly and sideways. It's Mike LaRue there as he slots back in a Grumpy Monkey car. Dives around the inside. I believe that's Sas van der Westhuizen, and it looks like the majority of the field has got away nice and cleanly. And just ignore the tower on your screen that says Jay Cordy up front. That is a timing error. It is Ross Bartle up front, followed by Hannes van Wyk, Charles Wilkin, Nick Hodson, engine governor, and I'm on board here with Sas van der Westhuizen, and he's got Mike LaRue hot on his heels. This is looking back at Mike LaRue from Sas van der Westhuizen's rear wing. Just a short little application of the brakes, and that car of Mike LaRue, that BMW Viper on the bonnet, looking very looming. Flick to Mike LaRue's contact. Oh, he gets all sorts of up the inside. Was there even contact? I think it may have been a little bit of argy-bargy coming through, and that position is stolen, I would almost say, from Sas van der Westhuizen. And now it's Fridge Finlay up on his inside here for TLR Racing as well. Coming down, just heading into the Ravazza 1 and 2 corner complex, and Fridge is already ahead, but he's gone wide and off the circuit. And that is allowing a lot of people to come through. Jonathan Benz, Sean Bingham capitalizes on that as well. And Ross Bartle's across the start-finish line now with Hannes van Wyk in P2, Charles Wilkin P3, Nick Hodson still maintaining 4th. A little bit further down the field, Gregory Hofart for the B team, the signature yellow and black B livery cars. In that snaking chicane, he is tucked in behind Ryan van Wyk for Holsten Breads Motorsports, and it looks like they are going side by side. I'm going to get a bit of a wider angle here, and there's someone off in the background, and that looks like Mark Guy, the co-driver or teammate of Ryan van Wyk, who we're on board with here, unfortunately hitting the wall and putting himself a little bit further back, and they're going 3 wide here, and that's not good in terms of contact. And all sorts of action here. Hannes van Wyk, meanwhile, puts in the fastest lap of the race. And a lot of action here up at the start. have Fridge Finlay just riding the curbs here behind Jonathan Bentz. Renier Leach, meanwhile, we have seen just get past James Leach. Train of cars here coming across the start-finish line. We're on with Shvesh Bassoon, who's looking to catch up to the Leaches. He's in a bit of a Leach sandwich right now. He's got James Leach Sr. behind him, James Leach Jr. in front of him. Tosa now. Christy Simon is all over the back of Jonathan Bentz here. Aggressive cutting of the chicane there. Christie's having a little look there, but he needed to back out of that and has compromised his own line by just having to put a wheel into the dirt there. And he's got Roxanne Bartle, fellow Grumpy Monkey sim racer, behind him. Christie in the yellow mirrors. Roxanne has the purple wing mirrors just behind him. He's got her lights on, so he's going to see him coming in the mirrors. See her coming, apologies. Under braking, going through that first chicane complex of Tamburello. Minor gaps all over the field, but relatively spread out at the moment. We have Nick Hudson right now as the closest battle on track behind Charles Wilkin, just 0.28 seconds. Looking to make good on that start. Just hang on to the rest of the leaders here. Charles Wilkin in front of him going very wide. And drivers need to be careful if they do that too often and are found to be gaining an advantage. The auto sim director of Assetto Corsa Competizione will start dishing out warnings. And I think after the third warning, the fourth time it happens, it'll be issued with a form of a penalty. It could be a drive-through. Just dipping a wheel onto the outside. There goes Nick Hudson. I'm going to try and jump to Shvesh Bassoon now, who's looking like he's side by side with James Leach just behind him on his left quarter panel, coming through Ravazza 1, Ravazza 2. There's a big train of cars behind him. This is going to be all sorts of pressure, but stretching out over the start-finish straight. You can see a couple of cars in the background just having a little look. It's actually more pressure on James Leach right now. And oh, there's heavy contact as James Leach and Shavish soon make contact. And we're just going to go and have a little 30-second clip back look at that. We'll go on board right now and just see, unfortunately, how that transpired. I think they were caught out at the Tamburello chicane, perhaps not anticipating how much the car in front of him was braking, or just missing the braking marker. A little bit of both, who knows? We'll have to see if the stewards have something to say about that one. And we'll head back now to the live action. James Leach dropped down to position 22. A couple of other position swaps just behind them. Going up the hill here, Shiraz Dada, whose left-hand side panels of his BMW are looking a little second-hand. Right-hand side looking nice and shiny. Let's see if we can go and pick another battle for you. I've got Christy Simon, who has Ryan van Beek just behind him, and Renier Leach in tow, and they're in a bit of a train right now. The pit window is now open, as you would have heard declared, for the next 40 minutes. Essentially, it's going to be closing 10 minutes to go. So we'll see with drivers, maybe if they've been involved in some incidents, so now they might opt to take an early pit stop or repair some damage. Maybe if they think it's not too bad, they'll stay out there. Or we see one of the Benz racing cars falling off. I think that is Jonathan Benz. And we'll see if we can find out post 30 seconds behind what happened to him, as we're on board now with a replay, just to see what happened as he makes his way through across the start finish line into Tamburello. And it looks like there may have been a little bit of rear contact, and that's what caused him to be going around. And it looked like one of the Grumpy Monkey sim racing cars, not sure which one offhand. So that might also be a steward's inquiry coming to the team. Let's have a look at Sas van der Westhuizen right now. He's tucked up behind Endrin Govender, and it looks like he's side by side. And it's a little bit of a drag race right now. Endrin Govender racing for Point Blank Racing, just managing to squeeze out Sas there and hold on to P6. Yassine Manuel currently in P16, tucked in behind Jonathan Bentz. He's just recovered from that spin, of course. 0.2 seconds behind and looking to make a move here. We'll see what he can do coming up to the first corner of Tamburello. Looks like he's got a nice bit of drag. He's gaining. Let's hope he doesn't misjudge the brake marker and up braking nice and early. And carrying the speed through Tamburello and just opening up the taps. Gets a little bit sideways and has to collect it. But so does Jonathan Bentz ahead of him, and it looks like that he's still gaining on that position. He's going to have a little bit of a look just through Variante Villeneuve, but he has to tuck in behind, otherwise he's never going to make that corner stick. And as we say, that's someone running wide. I think that's Corne Kotze behind him. Going through Tosa now. Up the hill, very tricky corner to get right. And we're staying on board because this battle is still on here, and we're on the rear wing of Jonathan Bentz, looking behind to Yassine Manuel. anything through Aqua Minerale. Trying to stay off those yellow curbs because they upset the car quite significantly. Coming up to Variante Alta, hard on the brakes, you can ride these curbs quite nicely. And it looks like Jonathan Bent's making good of his position there for now. Meanwhile, out in front, Hannes van Veek is just 0.2 seconds behind Ross Bartel and looking like a lot of pressure being put on Ross Bartel right now. And not too far behind him, you can see the white and red livery of Charles Wilkin as well for Hard Motorsports. Here with Hannes van Veek going through the Aqua Minerale sections. Keeps it nice and tight and tucked in behind Ross Bartel, looking for the best toe possible up this short little run down to Variante Alta chicane. See how aggressively you can ride the curbs here. You want to keep it nice and straight so you can get the power nice and early. Does he fare with this run down to Rabatza? We've got some back marker traffic ahead of him. That looks like position 31, which is Emily Benz for Yellow Design Co livery. Just tucked in such behind. See what happens now as they come up to the first chicane, Tamburello. Really Benz, meanwhile, we'll hop to our helicopter camera and we can see she just tucks out of the way there for the leaders, letting them through, no drama. Still staying out of the way of the top three here. Very good job indeed. And off they go. Meanwhile, Walter Swickers is side by side here with John Mervis and James Leach Sr. I think he's actually just made that position stick. Christy Simon, meanwhile, is in the pits. And I've just seen a stop-go 30 penalty be applied to James Leach. And I can see he's cleared his pit stop, so I do believe that means he was speeding in the pit lane. And that's unfortunate and going to be quite costly for him. You know, we're staying on board here with Walter Swickers as he's going side by side and just trying to fend off John Mervis and James Leach Sr. behind him. Now with John Mervis looking ahead as he runs very wide and into the kitty litter and concedes a position to James Leach Sr. and he'll say thank you very much. I'll take that P24 and bank it for now. Benimworks Racing with Mike LaRue up in P5. He's just looking quite a bit of clean air right now, above, in front and behind. But for the time being, it's these top three, Ross Bartel, Hannes van Veek and Charles Wilkin, just battling it out. In terms of position gains from the start, Ross Bartel has not made any mistakes. He's qualified on pole. Currently sitting in P1. Hannes van Veek, meanwhile, is up one position from the start. Charles Wilkin dropped one position, so they have swapped positions. And Nick Hudson has gained 2 positions off the start, so started P6, currently P4. One of the other biggest winners so far off the start, Peter Geldenes tonight for SimRace Crew, SimRace Africa Crew I think it is in P13 after starting P20. So Pete is doing really well for himself tonight. Keep it up. And he has Jonathan Benz behind him for company right now, but he is of course going to be focusing on that P12 position of Renier Leach. Shoal gets a little bit squiggly out of Revatsa 2 there. But look how close these top 3 are just the entire time. Speaking of another close battle here, Ryan van Wyk is all over the back of Roxanne Bartel. Can he make any sort of move stick? Down into Revatsa 1. Does he dare dive up the inside? I don't think so. Roxanne is planting her car at the apex there, not letting any kind of room be left. Both seem to get a decent enough exit. A little bit of a tow here being enjoyed. Will something become of it down to Tamburello? They're almost side by side. A smidgen of an overlap here. Ryan van Wyk shoves his car up into the inside, but backs out of it. I don't think he had enough of an overlap, so safely pulled out of it. That battle continues through Villeneuve curves, and they're going to be going up to Tosa. The pressure is still on here, side by side again. But Roxanne Bartel has the critical inside corner advantage here. But who has the better exit coming up the hill? I think they're both pretty much the same right now. So we'll keep an eye on that battle and we'll come back to it. We're going to hop down to Corne Kotze, who is 0.5 behind Yassine Manuel. Looking to attack. He's just gone through Tosa himself. Up the short little back. Straight to the Piratella complex. And Yassine running very wide there, and that's allowing Corne to get the inside. But yeah, he's actually got the move done just before Aqua Minerali. He banks that, so great position gain there. Nice and clean. Meanwhile, Ryan van Wyk has got past Roxanne Bartel. They're actually side by side, coming up to Revatsa 1. But Ryan is going to slot it in front, but Roxanne dives back down to the inside and sneaks that position back right from him. But Ryan van Wyk's going to take it back as Roxanne drops a wheel into the kitty litter. So swapping positions there, and ultimately Ryan van Wyk takes the position. I've got Mike LaRue in the pits right now, just dropping down a few positions. Hans van Wyk, 0.3 seconds. These top 3 are still in it. Who's going to bite first in terms of pit stops? That's going to be the super interesting one to figure out. So have a look at this here. We're the car in the middle, Hannes van Wyk, Ross Bartel out in front. And in the mirrors, every now and then you catch a glimpse of Charles Wilkin just behind. Such a difficult position to be, where you're trying to find a move on the car ahead of you, but not concede any positions to the car behind you. Guys just sticking with it for now. Charles Wilkin getting tantalizingly close to the back of Hannes van Veek there through Vatsa corners, but off they will go for another lap. Jumping down to Christy Simon, who's got 0.7 gap to Justin Weldon in front of him, who runs a little bit wide. So Christy, I think, may have the advantage here going up the hill. A little bit of a drag race just after Tosa. He's looking like he's taking the inside and has that move made. Meanwhile, Bjorn Buchner is past Mark Guy, who's slipped down a couple of positions. There may have been a mistake there because Shiraz Dada and the yellow and red Beamer has also got past him. In fact, we can maybe go and jump back 30 seconds and see what's happened here as Bjorn makes his position gain. This is an action replay. Oh, that car actually just pulled off the circuit there. Did Mark Guy. Not entirely sure why, but that happened. Yassine Manuel, we're not quite back live yet. Here's 0.4 seconds. There we go, back live. Yassine, that is. He is tucked in just behind Corne Kutzer. Looking to see what he can do. In fact, Corne Kutzer has gone off track. So that was an easy position gain. We'll jump back 10 seconds just to figure out what's happened there. I think he just went wide all on his own into the kitty litter. Hannes van Veek still stuck behind Ross Bartel, but hanging on there very nicely. And still the bets are out on which one of these top three are going to bite first in terms of pit stops. Christy Simon now is past John and Mervis. That pass happened off screen. So he's continuing to jump up the leaderboard. Just going to stay with these top three for now. John Walken is just dropped ever so slightly back, with the gap between Hannes van Veek and Ross Bartel ahead of them being the far of the closer between these three. These guys have been so close, it's honestly like a tow rope has been between the two of them. Absolutely phenomenal driving between both of them. John Mervis has just lost out on a position to Justin Weldon in front of him. We'll see if we can quickly go 30 seconds behind on that and figure out what happened. It looks like Justin Weldon had a little look. He's just driven off the circuit, unfortunately. A little bit of a mistake there. And that was a freebie. Justin Weldon says thanks very much. got Mike LaRue here side by side with John Mervis as well. Just capitalizing on that, and he's got a little bit of a Justin Weldon in front of him as well. So suddenly, I think this is actually a result of him coming out of the pits into some traffic, but managing to navigate his way through. Ravatsa, 1-2. So there's a little bit of action we see here happening in the foreground. James Leach Sr., I think that's Mark Guy traveling very slowly there after some sort of incident, but returning to the racing line now. Wyatt Avis and Peter Geldney swapping positions as well. Meanwhile, apologies, we've just had a swap at the front. Hannes van Veek has got his way past Ross Bartel. I'm going to take you back 30 seconds on that so we can figure out what happened. So here we go, I'm on board with Ross Bartel. It is coming across the start-finish line. This is obviously heading into Tamburello. This is where the move must have happened. Hannes van Veek with a little bit of an inside, and he actually just puts his car in the right position and forces the issue and squeezes his car into P1. And this battle is still ongoing. Charles Wilkin, meanwhile, has actually shoved his car into position 2 as Ross Bartel drops yet another position. Let's just watch this live and unfold, because the battle is not done yet. So all of a sudden, a big shake-up at the start of the top end of the field, yeah? With 18 minutes of the pit window left, I'm sure the shuffling positions may have all of these guys thinking about their pit stops now again. Do they do an undercut? Do they try and run long? What would be the optimal strategy for them? If they're all so close on pace, I'm not sure if any one of them particularly feels like they're being held up per se. So as long as they can just stay all nice and close together, may just be in their best interest just to try and hang on to this train. Let's see if they can force a mistake out of anyone else or jump at an opportunity. Of course, there's a back marker now that is coming into contention, but it's looking like it's getting out of the way quite nicely. Shouldn't impact things as we stand. So yeah, did the right thing there and made sure they were very predictable with their actions and the attitude of their car on track, just allowing these top 3 to sail through safely without any issue. And we're going to come back to this corner. Kotze has just been promoted to position because Jonathan Bentz is in the pits, as is Chevy Bassoon. Mike LaRue, meanwhile, has just got past James Leach Sr. Here with Shiraz Dadar, which is being shown the white flag temporarily. going on board here with Mike LaRue, who is tucked in behind Bjorn Buchner, who has his right-hand side indicator on for no real apparent reason, because this is racing for position. So that may have just been left on from an earlier scenario, perhaps where he was yielding to some blue flags, or just indicating his intentions. They're getting extremely close through Acro Minerali, and it has upset Mike LaRue's car, and he's trying desperately to hold on to it and not make contact with the car behind him, which is not for, it is for position. It's James Leach Sr. who's just actually gone through. So that unfortunately cost him a little bit, just getting caught out there from Bjorn Buchner and his difference in approach to the Acro Minerali section. Super unlucky indeed, Hardis. Back on here with Peter Geldenes, who's all over the back of John Mervis, looking very aggressive through Ravazza, and John Mervis has dipped a wheel in the sand. That might compromise his exit speed here, though unfortunately not enough, I don't think, for Peter Geldenes to make a move. John Mervis is trying to break that, so he moves a little bit to the left. Heading into Tamburello, there's a car exiting the pits. I think that's Shiraz Dadai. Emily Bence, meanwhile, I've seen, has just got a stop-go 30 penalty. That's probably for pit lane speeding as well. And around the outside, can Peter Geldenes go? He has a little look now. He's trying to look to the inside. And this is heading up to Villeneuve corner, Variante. And he's got the move done, and he goes through just before Tosa. A little bit wide there, but not enough to dig into the sand, so I think he's got that move done and dusted. Yellow flag here for Yassine Manuel. Let's just go 10 seconds back and see what happened there. Oh, he lost it in Variante Alte. Fortunately kept it out of the walls and keeps it going in the right direction. And that has put him under a little bit of pressure from Corne Kotze behind. Mike LaRue, meanwhile, 0.3, 0.2 behind Bjorn Buchner, just diving up the inside now, having a little look, tucks in behind. Through Variante Alta, they go. Bjorn's still got his indicator stuck on. This is like deja vu here. Where can Mike stick his nose? Can he get it up into Ravazza 1? He can indeed. I think that's a simple move, nicely done. I'm hearing someone else go off into the sand just behind. I think it was Jonathan Bence, just dipping a wheel perhaps. Looking up at the top here, a little bit of traffic here for the leaders as they come through. And Charles Wilkins made a mistake as we say that. Dips onto the grass and Ross Bartle goes through. Simple as that, one little mistake, and immediately decides to go into the pits. And decides, yep, that was his cue, that was his moment. And he's the first of our front runners to bite. And, yep, that's the best, I think. Just in Ravazza, you're right at the end there. You won't lose too much time for that mistake if you dive straight into the pits. Right, Endrin Govender obviously promoted into P4 because of that. Sean Bingham as well. Vishal Wilkin will drop a few positions. We're going to have a quick skim down the field and see who else is around. A lot of drivers making their pit stops right now, which is wreaking havoc on this tower. Fridge Finlay coming through in P8 decides to stay out there for another lap. Just in front of them you can see Bjorn's indicator. Charles Wilkin is coming out the pits now in position 7, and just blitzing past him goes Ryan van Veek, and who still has to make his pit stop, of course. So, off Wilkin for the time being. It's looking like a pretty strong position depending on where Hannes and Ross Bartle are now, and within traffic, that is. Backmarket traffic, and how much they're going to be held up. As I see just in front of Ross Bartle now, we have, I think that might be Peter Geldnes. In between himself and the current leader of the race, Hannes van Beek. Does this force a pit stop? In fact, Hannes van Beek is in. He is coming in now, so Ross Bartle stays out there for the time being, and is probably going to look to put the hammer down while he's in a little bit of clean air, I think, as he's just got past Peter Geldnes with that back marker. And where is Charles Wilkin? This is the real test. Car number 1 or 2, Grumpy Monkey Sim Racing, which is Mr. Weldon. That stays out of the way as they come through Rivatsa 2 now. So where is Hannes van Beek? Hannes van Beek is still in the pits, coming out now, so that seems to be quite a slow stop in comparison to Charles, who is already blitzing his way through Villeneuve, I think it is, and heading up to Tosa. So, relatively slow stop there for Hannes van Beek. So now it's all about where Ross Bartle is, and in comparison to Charles Wilkin, and when he is going to make his pit stop. Meanwhile, is racing for position here behind James Leach Sr., heading up to Tamburello. Ghostworks Racing. It's looking extremely racy, and he tucks up the inside there, just out the exit, going through Villeneuve shortly. Has to back out of it a little bit, to be honest, just to be able to make that safely. And up to Tosa now. We're going to go on board. He's looking to get up the inside of James Leach Sr., and I think it's going to be move done at the exit of Tosa. It's a great move there by Jonathan Bentz. Up one. For the time being, Hannes van Beek down in P11th after a slow stop. As we see another Grumpy Monkey car peeling into the pits, that was Roxanne Bartle in that foreground there. Still haven't seen Ross Bartle jump at it. Keep an eye out for the Grumpy Monkey Sim Racing blue livery with yellow wing mirrors. Jet black rims. Roxanne Bartle still in the pits, should be coming out shortly. having a look here at Nick Hodson in P2, who is avoiding Peter Keldenes, who's just gone off track. Up 0.2 seconds on his best, 0.3 now, had a good exit out of Tosa, and is not too far behind Ross Bartel. Well, you know, 7 seconds, but still in it for a good opportunity to make podium, potentially. Just depending how far back Charles Wilkin will be when all the pit stops are done and dusted. Hans van Veek as well, just still continuing to make his recovery after that slightly slow stop. Ross Bartel, I'm getting the tower flicker yellow flag. I'm not sure if there was a dip off the side of the road there or what. Just cocking a wheel around Roberts 2 there at the exit. And only 4 minutes left of the pit window. And stays out there again, so I think he's going to be taking an extremely late pit stop, as I'm sure will Nick Hodson. We've often seen these Grumpy Monkey Sim races do a little splash and dash right at the end, to great effect. Let's see if it works out for them today. As opposed to Charles Wilkin on the opposite strategy of doing a little bit of an undercut to them. Sliding around is Ross Bartel. His tires, I'm sure, are looking like it's getting to the worn stages. But I'm sure they won't be swapping boots. I'm sure they're just going to do a splash and dash on the fuel. Hardest asking, did Hannes take new tires? I suspect he might have, which is would have explained the slow stop in comparison to Charles, at least. You know, Charles had a huge advantage gain there, and I'm guessing he must have, and in retrospect maybe shouldn't have. It's looking quite racy still, so potentially some good improvements still to come. Endrin Govender has done his pit stop though and is ahead of him. Is he? Timing tower, I think, is slightly out of date here. It's saying Endrin Govender is in P9 on my back-end system with Hannes in P8. Yep, so they're actually Hannes van Veek managing to stay ahead of Endrin there. And the gap to Charles, if I can figure this out, is about 5. Ross Bartel is in the pits, so he is jumped with 2 minutes to spare. I'm sure Nick Hodson is going to be making his way in. Yep, you can see him in the background now as well. So they're both taking their stops, and we'll see how quick they are, how long they're stationary for. And he gets going pretty quickly. Definitely no tire swap there. I think that was just a few liters of fuel. How is Ross doing? Ross is pulling out now as well. And just in the background there, you can see Nick Hodson. So the real test is, where is Charles Wilkin? He's coming across the start-finish line now. And there you see, just in the foreground, depending on which way the camera is swinging, the Grumpy Monkey car of Ross. And Nick, I think, has leapfrogged Charles. Just from... again, the timing of that pit stop. Has it? No, apologies. The tower is yet again out of date. Nick Hodson is behind Charles Wilkin. So he split the difference. He did pit ahead of Nick, so he stayed ahead of Nick. But Ross Bartel has managed to maintain his lead. And all that has happened is that due to Hannes' slower stop, he has lost out 1 position to Nick Hodson. So Nick Hodson with his comparatively quicker stop has leapfrog Hannes in the pit stop stages. I see a drive-through penalty being assigned to Yassine Manuel. That is possibly for corner cutting. And pretty much all drivers now having completed their stops except for Corne Kotze, who is in the pits as we speak with 20 seconds left of the pit window to spare. He was cutting it fine, but looks like he's made it in. And now we have the final 10 minutes of the race, just to see who can gain those final few positions. Closest battle out on track right now is this one, Sean Bingham, who has
The window is now closed.
led a relatively quiet race, I want to say. I haven't seen too much action of him on track, but I'm now seeing him creep up behind Sas van der Vestes, and who's also seemed to have a relatively quiet race. Haven't caught him in any battles tonight, at least on camera. And looking pretty comfy here, well into the top 10. P7 is Sean Bingham, looking to capitalize and potentially gain on Sas van der Vestes in P6. I'm jumping back to Michael Leroux, who's side by side here with Christy Simon, and tucks in behind. Very aggressive over the very anti-alta curbs there. A little bit unsettling of the car. I could see him just trying to fight that to keep it under control. I think there's an opportunity for a move here coming up to Ravazza. I think Christy's going to park it on the apex. So you can get a better exit out of Ravazza too. Who's going to win the drag race down to Tamburello? I think it's still neck and neck here. Will there be a dive up the inside by Mike Leroux? Christie's looking like he's blocking off the inside corner, which is the right thing to do. Can Mike hang it around the outside? I think he might. He's got it done right around the outside there. So good attempt by Christie, but Mike, and good respect for space given as well. But Mike slinging it around the outside there, great move. Kept it nice and clean too. Charles Wilkin back into P2 after the pit stop phases. And I think he's got quite a bit of work to do if he wants to catch up to Ross Bartle with 8 minutes to go. Is almost 4 seconds to catch up. He's got him in his sights. He's within vision range, but Ross is not one to make a mistake. Have a little look here, spectating Gideon Bernardi. So having a little look here at Wyatt Avis, racing for AMX Industries. Looks like he's got Bjorn behind him, but I think that's not for position. Bjorn, the indicator's still going. Very atypical of a BMW driver, I would say, to use the indicator. Speaking of Wyatt Avis, shows Bjorn what a right indicator is. Everyone's got their right-hand indicator on. And just keeping out of the way there as a couple of the faster guys come through, nicely staying out of the way there. forward here with Sas van der Westhuizen. This has just come through the Variante Alta, heading down another hill to Vatsa 1. Slams on the anchors, keeps it in off the dirt. Vatsa 2 exit. Chucks on the power. Helicopter cam finds Charles Wilkin here in P2, just looking for that gap to Ross Bartle. It's come down a little. It was 3.5 seconds about a lap or two ago. It's down to 3 seconds now. But I think it might be a little bit too late for Charles to catch up to Ross Bartle. So Ross, meanwhile, I'm trying to look at the track map. He's got a lot of clear air in front of him, running a bit wide there. A lot of clear air in front of him as he runs up to Variante Alta. So I don't think he's going to be impeded anytime soon by any sort of back marker. So assuming he keeps this nice and clean, should have it in the bag. Olis Swichers, meanwhile, is 0.7 behind Shiraz Dada. Let's see if he can close that gap up any further, heading up to Tamburello. James Leach has suddenly cramped up on Gideon Bernardi here and is piling on the pressure. See a little bit of a second-hand looking bonnet there, closes up under braking through Variante Alta. Down the hill there will expand out and then close up again under braking for Ravazza 1. But a little bit too far behind is James Leach. Sounds like a bit of a lock-up there and braking. Just a squealing of tyres, keeping it in check. 2.5 minutes left. We are looking at this gap now. It's still coming down. It was 3 seconds, now 2.5. Charles Wilkin to Ross Bartle. So he's on a charge, but he's running out of time to do it. Hannes van Beek, just looking at the gap to Nick Hudson in front of him. That's also far too big to be any sort of threat. Still this battle here in the mid-pack here between Gideon Bernardi and James Leach, who have also just got past Yuri Cordia, I think, after a little bit of a mistake. Of blue flags being waved as these guys try to make their way through. Vatsa now a little bit of a wheel dipping onto the sand. It's awfully tight between all of these guys. I do believe that is actually a blue flag situation there, not actually for position. There's James Leach and Kenyan Bernardi. There's definitely a car in between them, car number 888, which is Renier Leach, who is much further up the pack in P13, just trying to make his way through the traffic now, and that's what the blue flag's being waved for. And he does manage to escape those two now racing for position as Ross Bartle comes across the line to take the win. Charles Wilkin has crossed as well. Nick Hodson is crossing the line as we speak. So that will be the top 3. We'll run the podium ceremony. So excellent stuff here from Ross Bartle for Grumpy Monkey Sim Racing to take P1. Nick Hodson was piling up next to him there. Just jump back to pits. Now we have Charles Wilkin in P2. Hannes van Veek comes across for P4. Still a solid finish by him. I'm sure he'll be a little bit gutted from that pit stop strategy and the way it played out. Adrian Govender P5. Sas van der Westhuizen comes home P6. Sean Bingham P7. Fridge Finlay is still out there. He's heading around the track now, followed so closely by Mark LaRue, who will take home P8 and P9 respectively. And rounding out your top 10 is Christy Simon for Grumpy Monkey Sim Racing. Definitely a solid start there for sure. I'm going to go and see who I can find for some quick podium interviews, so don't go anywhere. Okay, I have Ross Bartle and Charles Wilkin and Nick. Starting with Ross, congrats on your win, Ross.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Looks like that was a commanding victory, just led from start to finish. Any difficulties today?
Wasn't quite start to finish. Charles and Hannes got past. Yeah, I think just the stop worked out quite well in the end. I had 6 seconds worth of damage due to an incident, shall we call it. Not too happy about it, but yeah,
it's
turned out good in the end.
We did see actually it was Hannes van Veek, Ross, yourself, and Charles. You were swapping positions at one point there quite furiously, and it almost looked like Hannes van Veek had a very slow pit stop. I'm guessing he maybe took tires and you guys didn't.
It's possible. I think he's the only one to answer for that one. Nick noticed that his pace wasn't much quicker, so we're not too sure ourselves, to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
So if you had taken tires, you would think he was a bit quicker, but
yeah. And Charles, congrats on P2 as well. Qualified P2, finished P2. You happy with the finish tonight?
Not really. No, I think I had good pace. It was difficult to get by, and we had some issues with the back marker about halfway through the race, and I got some damage from that, so I had to fix it in the pits. So yeah, unfortunate, but well done to Ross.
Yeah, absolutely, still a solid finish. And Nick, I think probably one of the top finishes tonight in terms of positions gained. Started P6, ended up P3, so I'm sure you got to be happy with that one, eh?
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie. I had a terrible qualifying. I'm not sure I could have gone much quicker than 5th, to be honest. But just for myself personally, I couldn't hook it up. But off the start, I just seemed to, I don't know, find a way through. I think I gained 3 positions or 2 positions straight off the line. And then, yeah, as I say, we weren't quite sure what happened to Hannes. If he did take tires, it didn't seem to work for him because the gap stayed at around 10, 11 seconds between me and him. So it was either I don't know, back markers or something that was halting his progress. But very happy to take a silent third here.
Yeah, absolutely. Unlucky for Hannes. If you do watch this afterwards, it could have been, from my perspective, a combination of, I reckon, taking tyres and then some back market troubles as well, potentially costing him out on a podium there for sure.
Yeah, because he was quick.
Yeah, absolutely. He was on the money, in fact, leading the race at one point as well. So hard luck there, Hannes, and I'm sure you'll come back fighting in the next one. But yeah, I think we'll keep it short and sweet tonight, guys. Thanks again for joining me on the podium celebrations, and we'll look forward to the next one, which of course is Donington, I think, for the M2 series.
Yeah, that should be a great track for this car.
Absolutely. I mean, Donny, we know is interesting at the best of times with the GT3 cars, but yeah, I think it's going to be well suited for these BMWs. And yeah, thanks to everyone else on stream who's tuned in as well. Don't go anywhere. Every single Monday night you can find us here. The next race we do have is the GT3 race at Nürburgring, and then we'll be back for a GP round at Monza. And then, yeah, as I said, Donny is the next in the M2 lineups. Thanks again, and congrats again, Charles, Nick, Ross. Great to have you guys, and catch you guys soon.
Thanks, Ryan, for streaming.
All right, cheers guys.
Thanks.
Have a good
Cheers,
night,
guys.
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.